Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room filled with challenges and opportunities and immediately stand out with confidence, while others hesitate, doubt themselves, and hold back their true potential? The difference isn't talent, it isn't luck, and it certainly isn't something they were born with. The difference is the way they think. Success and confidence begin long before the results show up in your life. They begin in your mind. Every achievement, every breakthrough, and every great accomplishment starts with a belief that you are capable of more than you can currently see. The most successful people in the world don't have perfect lives. They face fear, uncertainty, and failure just like everyone else. What separates them is that they have trained their minds to focus on possibility instead of limitation, growth instead of excuses, and purpose instead of fear. Today, we're going to explore how to train your mind for success and confidence, how to overcome the negative thoughts that hold you back, and how to develop the mindset that empowers you to achieve extraordinary things. Because when you change the way you think, you change the way you live. And when you change the way you live, you change your future. Most people think success begins with hard work, talent, intelligence, or opportunity. While all of those things can play an important role, they are not the true starting point. The real beginning of success is much deeper. It starts with understanding why you do what you do. It starts with having a reason that is strong enough to keep you moving when motivation disappears, when obstacles appear, and when progress seems slow. Many people spend their lives focusing on what they want. They want more money, a better career, a successful business, improved health, or greater confidence. Others focus on how they are going to achieve those goals. They create plans, strategies, schedules, and routines. But very few people spend enough time thinking about why those goals matter in the first place. When your actions are connected to a meaningful purpose, everything changes. Purpose gives direction to effort. Purpose gives meaning to sacrifice. Purpose transforms ordinary work into something valuable. Without a clear reason behind your actions, even the best opportunities can feel empty and uninspiring. Think about the moments in life when you felt the most motivated. Chances are there was something important driving you. Maybe you wanted to create a better future for your family. Maybe you wanted to prove to yourself that you were capable of more. Maybe you wanted to make a difference in the lives of other people. Whatever it was, that reason created energy. It gave you a sense of direction and helped you push forward despite challenges. The problem is that many people chase goals that were never truly theirs. They pursue careers because others expect it. They follow paths that society tells them are successful. They compare themselves to people on social media and begin chasing lifestyles they do not genuinely want. As a result, they work hard but feel disconnected from their efforts. They achieve milestones but still feel unfulfilled because they never identified a purpose that truly belonged to them. When you understand your why, confidence begins to grow naturally. Confidence is not simply believing that everything will go perfectly. Confidence comes from knowing that your actions have meaning. When you know why you are doing something, you become more willing to face uncertainty. You become more willing to take risks because the purpose behind your actions becomes bigger than the fear in front of you. A person with a strong purpose can endure difficulties that would stop most people. They can wake up early when they do not feel like it. They can continue learning when progress seems slow. They can recover from failure because they understand that setbacks are part of a larger journey. Their purpose acts like an anchor, keeping them steady during storms. This is why two people can face the same challenge and respond completely differently. One person quits at the first sign of difficulty, while the other keeps going. The difference is often not talent or intelligence. The difference is that one person has a compelling reason to continue, while the other does not. Finding your why requires honesty. It requires asking yourself difficult questions. What truly matters to you? What kind of impact do you want to make? What values do you want your life to represent? What would make you feel proud of the person you are becoming? These questions are not always easy to answer, but they reveal the deeper motivations that drive meaningful success. Your why does not have to be grand or world-changing. It does not need to impress anyone else. It only needs to be real. For some people, their purpose is creating security for their loved ones. For others, it is pursuing personal growth, helping others, expressing creativity, or building something meaningful. The size of the purpose is less important than the authenticity behind it. When people operate without purpose, they often rely entirely on motivation. They feel productive when they are inspired and inactive when they are not. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Purpose is different. Purpose remains even when excitement fades. It provides consistency when emotions fluctuate. Imagine waking up every day with a clear understanding of why your efforts matter. The challenges would still exist. The obstacles would still appear. The hard work would still be necessary. But your perspective would change. Instead of seeing difficulties as reasons to quit, you would see them as part of the process. Instead of viewing setbacks as proof of failure, you would view them as lessons that move you closer to your goals. People who achieve remarkable things are often driven by something deeper than personal gain. They are connected to a mission, a belief, or a purpose that extends beyond immediate rewards. That deeper connection gives them resilience. It gives them patience. It gives them the ability to continue when others stop. Your mind is constantly searching for direction. If you do not intentionally define your purpose, outside influences will define it for you. Society will tell you what success should look like. Other people will tell you what goals you should pursue. Trends will tell you what matters. But true confidence comes from choosing your own direction rather than borrowing someone else's. The clearer your why becomes, the easier decisions become. Distractions lose their power. Fear loses some of its influence. Doubt becomes easier to manage because you are focused on something larger than temporary emotions. You stop reacting to every obstacle and start moving with intention. You begin to align your thoughts, actions, and habits with a purpose that genuinely matters to you. A strong why creates clarity. Clarity creates focus. Focus creates consistent action. Consistent action creates growth. And growth gradually transforms the way you see yourself and the possibilities that exist for your future. One of the most powerful conversations you will ever have is the one that takes place inside your own mind. It happens every day, often without you even realizing it. From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, your inner voice is constantly interpreting events, judging situations, creating expectations, and shaping the way you see yourself. This internal dialogue has a tremendous impact on your confidence, your decisions, and ultimately your success. Many people underestimate the influence of self-talk. They pay attention to what others say about them, but they rarely notice the messages they repeat to themselves. The truth is that your mind listens to your words, whether they are spoken out loud or silently repeated in your thoughts. Every time you tell yourself that you are not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, or not capable enough, your brain begins treating those statements as facts. Negative self-talk often develops gradually over time. It can come from past failures, criticism, rejection, disappointments, or difficult experiences. A single setback becomes a story. A mistake becomes an identity. Instead of saying, "I failed," people begin saying, "I am a failure." Instead of saying, "I made a mistake," they begin saying, "I always mess things up." These small changes in language may seem insignificant, but they create powerful beliefs that shape behavior. The mind is constantly looking for evidence to support what it already believes. If you repeatedly tell yourself that you lack confidence, your brain will search for situations that confirm that belief. You will focus on your weaknesses, remember your failures, and overlook your strengths. Every challenge will seem larger, and every opportunity will seem more intimidating. This is why mastering your self-talk is so important. The goal is not to ignore reality or pretend that problems do not exist. The goal is to develop a mindset that supports growth instead of limiting it. Successful people are not free from self-doubt. They simply refuse to let negative thoughts control their actions. Consider the difference between two people facing the same obstacle. One person says, "This is too difficult. I can't do this." The other says, "This is difficult, but I can learn." Both people acknowledge the challenge, but their internal conversations lead them in completely different directions. One creates helplessness, while the other creates possibility. Your words influence your emotions. Your emotions influence your actions. Your actions influence your results. This means that changing the way you speak to yourself can change the direction of your life. A simple shift in language can create a significant shift in confidence. Instead of saying, "I am terrible at this," you can say, "I am still improving at this." Instead of saying, "I will never succeed," you can say, "I have not succeeded yet." Instead of saying, "I am not confident," you can say, "I am developing confidence through practice." These changes may appear small, but they transform fixed beliefs into opportunities for growth. Many people treat themselves in ways they would never treat someone they care about. They are harsh, unforgiving, and constantly critical of their own efforts. Imagine speaking to a friend the same way some people speak to themselves. If a friend made a mistake, you would probably encourage them to learn from it and keep going. You would remind them of their strengths and help them see possibilities. Yet many individuals deny themselves that same level of support. Confidence grows when you become aware of your inner dialogue and intentionally improve it. This does not mean filling your mind with unrealistic positive statements that you do not believe. Effective self-talk is grounded in truth. It recognizes challenges while maintaining belief in your ability to handle them. When you face a setback, your internal response matters. You can interpret the setback as evidence that you are incapable, or you can view it as part of the learning process. The event itself may be the same, but the meaning you assign to it determines how you move forward. Your brain is influenced by repetition. The thoughts you think most often become familiar patterns. Over time, those patterns become beliefs. If you spend years repeating negative messages, those beliefs become deeply rooted. Fortunately, positive and constructive thinking can also become a habit through consistent practice. This requires awareness. You must learn to recognize negative thoughts when they appear. Many people accept every thought as truth without questioning it. But not every thought deserves your trust. Some thoughts are based on fear, insecurity, or past experiences that no longer define who you are. Learning to challenge those thoughts is an important step toward mental strength. When a limiting thought appears, ask yourself whether it is actually true. Ask whether there is evidence that contradicts it. Ask whether the thought is helping you move forward or holding you back. These questions create space between you and your automatic reactions, allowing you to respond with greater clarity. The words you choose also influence how you approach opportunities. People with negative self-talk often avoid challenges because they assume failure is inevitable. They hesitate to apply for jobs, start businesses, learn new skills, or pursue ambitious goals. Their inner voice convinces them that success belongs to other people. In contrast, people who develop empowering self-talk are more willing to take action. They understand that growth comes through effort, learning, and persistence. They are not guaranteed success, but they give themselves permission to try. They understand that confidence is not something you wait for before acting. Confidence is something you build by acting despite uncertainty. Every day, your mind is listening to the story you tell about yourself. That story shapes your expectations, influences your choices, and affects your willingness to keep moving forward. When you begin replacing limiting messages with constructive and empowering ones, you create a mental environment where confidence can grow, resilience can strengthen, and success can become increasingly achievable. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the human mind. It has the ability to stop dreams before they begin, silence ideas before they are shared, and convince capable people to settle for less than they are truly capable of achieving. Almost every person who has ever pursued something meaningful has encountered fear. The difference between those who remain stuck and those who move forward is not the absence of fear. The difference is how they respond to it. Many people believe that confidence comes first and action comes second. They think successful people are fearless, certain, and completely sure of themselves before they take risks. The reality is very different. Most successful individuals experience fear just like everyone else. They feel uncertainty before making important decisions. They worry about failure. They question whether they are good enough. The key difference is that they refuse to allow fear to become the final decision maker in their lives. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you that now is not the right time. It tells you that you need more experience, more knowledge, more resources, or more certainty before taking action. It creates convincing reasons to stay where you are. While preparation is important, fear can turn preparation into procrastination. It can keep you waiting for a perfect moment that never arrives. One of the biggest misconceptions about fear is that it always signals danger. In reality, fear often appears whenever you are stepping beyond your comfort zone. Your mind is designed to keep you safe, and it naturally prefers what is familiar. Even positive opportunities can trigger fear because they involve uncertainty. Starting a business, speaking in public, changing careers, pursuing a dream, or taking on a leadership role may all feel uncomfortable, not because they are wrong, but because they are unfamiliar. This is why fear should not always be viewed as a stop sign. Sometimes fear is actually a signal that you are moving toward growth. The activities that challenge you the most often hold the greatest potential for development. The very things that make you nervous can become the experiences that transform your confidence and expand your capabilities. Think about a time when you learned a new skill. At the beginning, it probably felt uncomfortable. You may have doubted yourself. You may have made mistakes and felt frustrated. But with practice, what once seemed intimidating became manageable. The fear did not disappear before you started. It disappeared because you started. Fear gains power when it remains in your imagination. The longer you avoid something, the larger it often becomes in your mind. You begin creating worst-case scenarios and imagining negative outcomes. Your thoughts magnify the challenge until it feels overwhelming. Yet when you finally take action, you often discover that the reality is far less frightening than the story you created in your head. One reason fear is so effective is because it focuses your attention on what you might lose. It highlights potential embarrassment, rejection, failure, or disappointment. It rarely reminds you of what you might gain. It rarely focuses on the opportunities, lessons, growth, and success that could result from taking action. To turn fear into fuel, you must shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" begin asking, "What if I succeed?" Instead of focusing entirely on the risks of action, consider the risks of inaction. What opportunities will you miss if you allow fear to control your decisions? What dreams will remain unrealized? What potential will remain undiscovered? Fear and excitement are often closely connected. Both create physical reactions in the body. Your heart beats faster. Your energy increases. Your attention becomes more focused. The difference is often the meaning you assign to those sensations. Many people interpret them as signs that something is wrong, but they can also be interpreted as signs that something important is happening. Every achievement requires some level of courage. Courage does not mean feeling fearless. Courage means acting despite fear. It means recognizing uncertainty and moving forward anyway. It means accepting that there are no guarantees while remaining committed to growth and progress. The people you admire most have likely experienced moments of intense fear. Entrepreneurs fear failure. Athletes fear losing. Leaders fear making mistakes. Artists fear criticism. Speakers fear judgment. Yet they continue moving forward because they understand that fear is a natural part of pursuing meaningful goals. Fear can also become a source of valuable information. It often reveals what matters most to you. You rarely fear things that have no importance in your life. The reason certain opportunities make you nervous is because they are connected to your hopes, ambitions, and aspirations. Fear highlights areas where growth is possible and where success would be meaningful. When you stop viewing fear as an enemy, you begin developing a healthier relationship with it. Instead of fighting fear, you learn to work alongside it. You acknowledge its presence without surrendering your power. You understand that fear is an emotion, not a command. Small acts of courage build larger acts of courage. Every time you do something that scares you, you strengthen your belief in yourself. Every challenge you face becomes evidence that you are capable of handling discomfort. Every risk you take expands your comfort zone and increases your confidence. The process is not about eliminating fear completely. It is about reducing its influence over your decisions. The more experiences you accumulate, the more proof you gather that you can